What should entrepreneurs never do? Entrepreneurs should never, 1. Start a business solely for the money. To be a successful entrepreneur, one must love what she does. You don't want to start a business only to realize you're not passionate about it at some point down the line. For the purposes of the argument, think of a business as a baby. You should not agree to have a baby unless you're willing to care for it and help it grow. 2. Start a business solely because you're family with someone. An entrepreneur should be in a business relationship first and foremost. It's possible that a friend or family member may have similar business goals and may complement your skills. However, a business partnership should be started on the premise of the business, not a personal relationship. I personally started a company on Kickstarter with 2 best friends that successfully raised $236,000. Today, 2 of us are no longer with the company as we left it to our former best friend. Once the money rolls into the bank account, you quickly realize that you're in a business relationship first. Some people can get greedy and true colors of friends can come out. Start a business with the right people that have similar business goals and complement each other. 3. Be afraid or scared of risk. The game of business is risk-based. Don't be afraid of it and realize that you will need to take risks, even as a large company in a mature market. In such a case, don't take enough risks and risk failure due to a changing market. Just look at Toys R Us, Circuit City, Radio Shack, etc. That's the case with formerly successful large companies, so one can only imagine the risk involved for a small company entrepreneur. Test hypotheses, pivot your business model, talk to customers, learn, take risks, evolve, repeat. 4. Forget to calculate your finances. Know your runway, calculate your costs, revenues, taxes, etc. And understand your overall financial standing so that you know what you are capable of doing. Do not spend on a $50,000 marketing campaign when you have $10,000 in the bank and are in debt, unless you're almost certain that the payoff will be worth it. 5. Rely solely on oneself. You do not know everything nor can you do everything. There's only 24 hours in a day and 7 days in a week. In the beginning you may need to work alone, but understand the value of distributing and optimizing workload and cumulative brainpower. 6. Retain negative employees. As an entrepreneur, you likely don't have salary money to waste. That's in the case when employees are unproductive. Moreover, as an entrepreneur, you should not tolerate employees who are negatively impacting your business, workplace, or other employees. Inversely, don't forget to acknowledge your top performers. 7. There are so many things I wasted my time on when I started my company. Some of them were silly, and some of them were downright stupid. 8. Let me start with the most controversial thing I shouldn't have wasted my time on, and that was hiring a vice president of sales. Not only did I have a founder VP of sales not work out, I repeated my mistake twice more. 9. Now why is hiring a VP of sales a waste of your time early on? Your company is likely not ready for a world-class VP of sales yet because your company is just not going to be far enough along to recruit a world-class VP of sales. 10. So just don't bother wasting your time on spending any time recruiting a VP of sales until you have a repeatable sales process and you're probably at least past $1 million per year in revenue. 11. But the madness of things you can waste your time on doesn't stop with hiring a VP of sales. There's a long list of things you might think are important, but aren't. Here's the rest of my list. 12. A. Wasting time worrying about equity ownership percentages and dilution. 13. This may be another controversial one, but stop wasting your time worrying about how much equity you own. There's no market for your equity, so today it's worth nothing. 14. The only way to make it worth something is for you and your team to kick ass. So stop wasting your time or doing the math on what your equity is worth. It's a waste of time. 15. And while we're on the subject of equity, stop wasting your time. 16. B. Worrying about keeping control of the voting rights. 17. Yes, you want to own the majority of the company if you can, but it's not going to help you stay CEO unless you do a great job. The reason is that until you are cash flow positive you need investors. 18. And, even if you own more than 50% of the company, the investors can demand you resign if you're not doing a good job because they can withhold funding. Look at what happened at Uber if you're in doubt. 19. One more money-related thing you should stop wasting time on is 20. C. Wasting time worrying about your exit. 21. Wasting time worrying about your exit is a close second to wasting time worrying about your ownership percentages. How your company gets liquid should be the furthest thing from your mind at this early stage. 22. Repeat after me, your company's exit will take care of itself if you execute. So focus on your team executing flawlessly and you won't have to worry about the exit. 23. Let's move on to the silly things we can waste time worrying about, like 24. D. Don't waste your time on a press release announcing you've been funded. 25. The PR you get will do you any good because the shelf life, or the boost to your web traffic, will be gone in a couple of days. 26. It's better to save your money on other important things. 27. What else? What else? Don't waste your time spending money on 28. E. Swag. 29. Spending money on swag is a pet peeve of mine. Show me one company where spending money on swag produced a positive ROI. 30. I dare you. 31. Swag is a waste of money. Allegedly, swag is one of those things you're supposed to provide your new employees to look cool and build esprit de corps. 32. Swag will not make you look cool. Swag will not help your culture. Hiring a great team and helping that great team execute will do more than any swag will ever do. For more on swag, read http://www.brettjfox.com is giving swag to your employees a bad idea. 33. Here's another thing you shouldn't waste your time on. 34. F. Fancy desks and office furniture. 35. We got our first set of 20 cubicles for $100. We got our next 20 cubicles for free. Be frugal. 36. You can get really nice office furniture for pennies on the dollar by buying the full cost furniture of the failed startups that came before you. 37. Our cubicles didn't match. So what? The cubicles were nice and everyone was happy. 38. More importantly, you set a tone of frugality for the rest of the company. 39. Speaking of really crazy things to waste your time on, I give you 40. G. Sick policies. 41. Yes, don't waste your time on crazy sick policies because you're worried about your employees abusing the sick policy. You've got a bigger problem if your employees are abusing the sick policy because that means you've got the wrong employees. 42. Instead, you might try the sick policy that worked so well for me. Just tell your employees that they should stay home when they're sick, and they should go to work when they're healthy. 43. That's it. That's all you need to do because an employee that abuses your sick policy will no longer be an employee. 44. There are more crazy things you can waste your time on, like 45. H. Buying things you don't yet need. 46. I already talked about not buying expensive furniture. But, in the same thought process, just don't software or hardware you don't absolutely have to have. 47. For example, 2 of my co-founders were pushing me to spend $300,000 on an ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, system when we could use Excel and QuickBooks to do the same thing. Yes, the ERP system would have made life easier, but not $300,000 easier. We passed. 48. It's the same frugal thought process I spoke about earlier. Plus, you never know exactly how much runway you're going to need. 49. And don't waste your time and money on 50. I. Hiring people you don't yet need. 51. Your team is likely to be your biggest resource when you're starting out. And, if you're not careful, you can find yourself burning a lot more runway than you want if you hire way above your plan. 52. Hire the people you need, not the people you'd like to have. The one thing you never want to do is lay good people off because you hired them ahead of plan. The pain you will cause these people will be on your conscience forever. 53. Speaking of hiring people you don't need, stop wasting your time.